As we continue down the road towards WrestleMania 41, we're making a pit stop in Toronto, Canada for Elimination Chamber. Now, I am a pretty big fan of the Elimination Chamber PLE because once it's over, we finally get to see the WrestleMania match card starting to build itself. And we kind of get a better feel for what WWE has in store as we continue towards WrestleMania. Unless they decide to throw a fastball on us and we get the WrestleMania build up that we got last year. While I don't necessarily think we're going to get that type of build, I still think that we could get a very, very good build towards this year's WrestleMania. And putting both the men's and women's Elimination Chamber matches aside, I still think that the other two matches should be very, very good. And if you're not familiar with how these PLE preview videos work on this channel, it's pretty self-explanatory. I go through the match card, I give my thoughts on who wins, who loses, where the stories go from there, and then I leave it for you guys to have at it in the comments. So with that out of the way, let's get on to the matches. In no particular order, we are going to start with the tag team match between Nia Jax and Candice LeRae, and Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus. Now, I think that this match is going to be more about the team of Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus, more so the team of Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. I think that this is yet another big, big moment for Tiffany Stratton in her very young main roster career. Getting to team with a legend like Trish Stratus is nothing to scoff at. It is a big opportunity for Tiffany Stratton to prove that she can hold her own with somebody with the likes of Trish Stratus. And I think the match itself is going to be good. I don't think it's going to be bad by any stretch of the imagination, and it does always help that you have someone like Trish Stratus in the match because it's Trish Stratus, and it's just always good to see Trish Stratus back in the WWE. And it's always good when Trish Stratus returns home to Toronto. So because of all of that, I think that Trish and Tiffany get the win. Because I simply think it makes the most sense. And I think it makes sense for a couple reasons. One being Trish Stratus gets the win in her hometown, which is always a special moment, and especially someone who has the legendary status that Trish Stratus does. The other reason being, Tiffany Stratton with a win here would most likely end the feud between her and Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. And I think with this kind of being Tiffany Stratton's first big feud on the main roster, I think it's important that she gets the win in this feud. Now, I know that she has had other feuds since she's been called up from NXT, but this one means more because now she has the Women's Championship. Now, I will say that there is always the threat of Charlotte Flair coming in and interfering in the match and possibly costing Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton the win. And the more I thought about it, the more I kind of talked myself out of that, simply because I don't really see Charlotte Flair coming out and pretty much giving Nia Jax a victory. Considering all the history that goes on between those two, I don't see that happening. But I do think that Charlotte makes an appearance, and I think she does end up attacking Tiffany Stratton after the match. Up next, we've got Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in an unsanctioned match. I obviously think that both the men's and women's Elimination Chamber matches are going to be good, but this one has me the most excited. While a lot of people wanted it to happen at WrestleMania, there's still a chance that that happens, but these are two Canadians who are in the biggest city in Canada, in Toronto. This is pretty much their Mania match. This is pretty much as big as it gets, and it's not like it's going to be held in a small arena. This is going to be held in a very large baseball stadium. And let's not kid ourselves. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, their matches always just work. There's no getting around it at all. Their matches, whether they're with each other or against each other, they always seem to be amazing. And with it being an unsanctioned match, who knows what the hell we're going to see from these two. And I do think that Sami Zayn is going to end up picking up the victory over Kevin Owens, largely because I think that we very well could see the return of Randy Orton once again. And I think Randy Orton is going to obviously attack Kevin Owens. And that, to me, has WrestleMania written all over it. Given the build-up to the feud that we have gotten already, and the kind of continuation of this feud, I do think that it is very much on the table. I'm not going to sit here and guarantee it, but I do really, really think that we could see Randy coming back, attacking Kevin Owens, and that is possibly a match at WrestleMania. Moving on to the Women's Elimination Chamber match between Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Bayley, and Roxanne Perez. Given the amount of talent that is in this year's Elimination Chamber match for the women's, I think it'll be a good match. I think last year's match was probably, arguably, one of the better women's Elimination Chamber matches that we've gotten. I think this one has a chance to be good, but maybe not possibly as good as last year's was, in my opinion. And how I'm going to pick a winner for both the men's and women's Elimination Chamber matches is I'm going to go through who's in the match and why I don't think they're going to end up winning. Starting with Liv Morgan, I don't really see her winning simply because I don't think we get Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley once again, because I think that feud is done and it needs to be done. Because by the time that that feud wrapped up, it was starting to really, really get stale. Not to mention, Liv Morgan is also kind of caught up in the whole Jade Cargill storyline, so I think you can eliminate Liv Morgan right off the bat. Speaking of the Jade Cargill storyline, Bianca Belair and Naomi, who, obviously, Bianca was tag team champions with Jade Cargill, then Naomi came in last minute, and we think Naomi took her out. I think we all are kind of in agreement that it was not Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. And while I do think that Bianca Belair is going to get back into the women's title picture, I just don't think it's going to happen quite yet. And considering that those two are wrapped up with an existing storyline already, I don't necessarily think it makes a whole lot of sense. Similar to those three already being in a storyline, the same can be said for Bayley and Roxanne Perez. Obviously, those two are currently in a feud against each other. I do think that we are going to get a phenomenal performance from Roxanne Perez, similar to what we saw her do at the Royal Rumble. And that leaves Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss, obviously, another person who had a very strong showing at the Royal Rumble after she made her kind of shocking return. And I actually do have Alexa Bliss winning. If the crowd's reaction for her return at the Royal Rumble was any indication, people want to see Alexa Bliss back in big matches. And if she does win and she goes on to WrestleMania, that could be a good opportunity to possibly incorporate the Wyatt Six. By this point, it's pretty obvious that Alexa Bliss is going to be part of the Wyatt Six in some way. Apparently, there's some injuries going on with the Wyatt Six right now, so that is kind of maybe on the back burner. But if the Wyatt Six does want to come back, why not have it at WrestleMania? A Wyatt Six entrance at WrestleMania would be amazing. So not only would it kind of help the Wyatt Six in a way, and I think it's important for Alexa Bliss to get a big match once again and kind of get back to the main event status that she once had. Moving on to the men's Elimination Chamber. This match consisting of John Cena, CM Punk, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, and Seth frickin' Rollins. And I'm very curious to see how they go about having John Cena in this match. Because I could see a point in the match where, if not everyone, but most people are out of their pods, they gang up on John Cena because John Cena didn't have to go through a qualifying match to get in this year's Elimination Chamber match. So I think that that could rub people the wrong way, and considering the rumors of John Cena taking on Logan Paul at WrestleMania, my hope that John Cena wins quickly goes downhill. I don't really see Damian Priest winning because I think at this point fans are really starting to turn on Damian Priest, and WWE needs to kind of be careful about doing that. And I think having him win here just would not help the situation at all. Then we get to Seth Rollins. And while I could see Seth Rollins winning this year's Chamber, I do think that the bigger picture is Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. That's the match that everyone wants. That's the match that everyone has wanted for a very, very long time. And I know we got a match between them at SummerSlam, but we've never gotten a match between those two on the big stage in the bright lights of WrestleMania. So my hope is that we do end up getting Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. That leaves CM Punk. CM Punk, obviously, kind of in a feud with Seth Rollins right now, and possibly Roman Reigns, given what we saw at the Royal Rumble. And my big thing with CM Punk possibly winning this year's Chamber is what was the favor from Paul Heyman? Because if CM Punk wins and he goes on to possibly main event WrestleMania, then what was the favor going to be? At this point, we know that it had nothing to do with the Royal Rumble, because that was one serious thought, is that Paul Heyman was going to pull strings and have CM Punk come out at number 30. That obviously did not happen, so now the favor has to be something involving WrestleMania. So if CM Punk does win the Chamber match this year, that favor is kind of pointless. And I think it would immediately kill what would be a very, very fun storyline to build on. And that leaves me with my winner this year. And I think that it is going to be Drew McIntyre. I think given what we saw from Drew McIntyre in 2024 and him having literally the best feud in pro wrestling at the time, the best feud of 2024, period, and we saw him improve time and time again. And Drew McIntyre, while, yeah, he's kind of involved in some storylines, he's not set in stone into one like some of the others are. And obviously, the John Cena Logan Paul thing is just a rumor at this point, but that does kind of seem to be the play for WWE at the moment. So I think Drew McIntyre winning makes the most sense, and I think the guy has simply earned it. Again, we go back and talk about Drew McIntyre not getting his WrestleMania moment, and while he did kind of have his WrestleMania moment for about 5 minutes at WrestleMania 40, I think this could be another big opportunity for Drew McIntyre at a WrestleMania. But then that leaves the argument of, could Drew actually defeat Cody Rhodes? And I think, given the work that Drew McIntyre has put in, he is really believable to actually beat Cody Rhodes, in my opinion. So again, for the women's, I have Alexa Bliss winning, and the men's, I have Drew McIntyre winning. So this is where I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of my predictions? Do you agree with them? Do you not agree with them? Let me know why you do agree with them or disagree with them. And obviously, let me know your predictions for the show down below in the comments, because I'm genuinely curious on who you guys have winning this year's Elimination Chamber matches. Given the talent that is in both the men's and women's, I think it should be two very, very good matches. And like I said earlier, once Elimination Chamber is done, we finally get to see the WrestleMania card being built, and that itself has me excited more than anything. And once Elimination Chamber is done, we are officially back on the road to WrestleMania 41. So again, let me know all that stuff down below in the comments, and while you're down there, swing by the description and click the Linktree link. That link will take you to all of the social medias for this channel. I do suggest going and checking out our X page. Besides YouTube, I am most active over on X. We do updates for Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and the PLEs. I will say that for the next couple months, Fridays and Saturdays are super busy for me, so I may not always be available for Friday Night SmackDown, and I may end up missing some of the PLEs, like I will not be able to provide updates for this year's Elimination Chamber. But providing something unforeseen happens, I will always be available for Monday Night Raw. And if something does come up, I will let everyone know on X. My main goal with the X page is to create a place for wrestling fans to go and talk about wrestling, especially if you're like me and you don't have a lot of people to talk to about wrestling. So if you are like me and you're looking for a place to talk about wrestling with wrestling fans, I do suggest going and checking out the X page. So, that is going to do it for this video here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. If you really enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button, because both are free and both help out the channel a lot. And if you have made it to this point of the video, I want to thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy day to watch these videos here, because you really don't know how much it means to me. So again, that's going to do it for this video here. I hope you all enjoy Elimination Chamber this year, and let's get back on that road to WrestleMania.